received from us a baptism in fire. Hey, man, I'm changing stuff at the last minute, giving her all this stuff, not coming to the phone when she called me. I just want to see if she had the stuff that it takes. So great job, Megan. We appreciate
Don't
you.
quit.
I promise you, don't quit. We're not going to run you out of here. It'll be better going forward. I promise you. All right, we'll be back next week. Same smack time, same smack network. I'm Dale Scott, James Davis Bobblehead, and guess what? We out.
See ya.
See ya.
Everyone.
Yeehaw! Hey, Donna, I'm pretty happy right now.
And why would that be, Don?
Beef jerky's back, everybody. We got Cowboy Logic. Beef jerky is back in stock after all of these months. Patrick Robinette called me up, and he said the jerky has been finalized. We got it. We got the 4 flavors. I know how many pounds we've got, and it's a lot of poundage, babies. Let me tell you about that.
About damn time.
That's right. And I'm not going to mention any name, but Mrs. Rizzo, you have been asking for the jerky and it's back. Hammer Chuck, you have been asking for the jerky and it's back. Genghis Khan said that he's going to order a pallet of beef jerky. It's back. And that guy that's on Studio 6, live from Studio 6B, big guy.
Who would that be?
Good-looking guy, real knowledgeable guy.
I bet that's David Zier.
David Zier's been asking for beef jerky, and we've got it back because David Zier is a connoisseur of cuisine.
Absolutely.
And he knows good things when he sticks it in his mouth. And he sticks this in his mouth.
Okay, I'm not going to go there. Absolutely not going to go there. But yes, he is a connoisseur. I will tell you that. Hey, you know what really gets me?
Hold on.
What?
CowboyLogicBeefJerky.com. You guys order it. Use promo code 1776. Patrick Robinette's going to give you 10% off your order, and we've got it again. Yeah, baby.
There you go.
Yeah, baby.
I'm loving it. I'm loving it. Okay.
What do you want to talk about,
Donna? I got to
Donna?
move things over so I can read my headlines here.
Hey, did I mention that we've got the beef jerky back, Donna? Let me tell you about this, ladies and gentlemen. CowboyLogicBeefJerky.com. You go there, you use promo code 1776, and Patrick Robinette's going to knock 10% off the order immediately. Back to you, Donna.
Bombshell just coming out. Actually, this is kind of huge. In fact, it's bigly. It's bigly. Georgia Secretary of State Brad Raffensperger, based on his statements, did not request that he, Ratzenberger, partake in any illicit activities involving the 2020 election. So in other words, Donald Trump didn't tell him to find the votes. Basically, Donald Trump tried to tell him to make sure the election was legitimate. I mean, I don't see why that is a problem. I mean, the mainstream media has been saying that it is the most secure election in 2020. But when they lose, no, that's not the case. When the Democrats lose, like in 2016, forget it. You know, it was like, oh, my God, this is horrible. Well, let's compare this. A lot of people do forget. And Brandon Straka has actually nice little comparison tape out there.
Yeah, what was the reaction in early 2017, Donna?
Yeah, well, that would be January 20th when Trump was inaugurated. J20.
Let's go back and see what that was like.
Compared to 1/6.
Let's compare the January 6th quote-unquote insurrection to the riots on January 20th, 2017, Trump's inauguration day. Hundreds, if not thousands, of Antifa anarchists and communists rioted and committed arson on J20. They threw rocks, smashed windows, assaulted police with projectiles, and set SUVs and limousines on fire, destroying them, all in hopes of stopping the peaceful transfer of power after the lawful election of President Donald J. Trump. 235 J20 suspects were charged with various felonies and were liable to serve between 25 and 70 years in prison, with fines as high as $25,000. But a funny thing happened on the way to justice. They were quickly bonded out, and then the judges rigged the cases to free the defendants. An example? U.S. Superior Court presiding judge Lynn Leibovitz, a George Bush Jr. appointee, forbade the prosecution from using phrases like Antifa and Black Bloc, and just before deliberations threw out the felony riot charges. Just 2 defendants were convicted, but Leibovitz suspended their sentences. Only one of the 235 defendants, Dane Powell, did any jail time, and it was only for 4 months. Let's contrast that with what happened at the January 6th protest to stop the Electoral College count and ensuing Big Steal. The J6 protesters weren't bonded out, and some are in solitary confinement. The feds arrested more than 570 January 6 protesters, more than twice as many as they arrested for the January 20th mayhem, and charged many with quote-unquote civil disorder, obstruction of an official proceeding, and violent entry into the Capitol building. Nicholas Stix writes, J20 rioters did exactly what judges and prosecutors have accused the J6 defendants of doing. The rioting communists tried to prevent the peaceful transfer of power after a lawful election. This is life in the anarcho-tyranny, as Sam Francis described it, in which criminals aren't punished, which is why it's anarchy, but the innocent are, which is why it's tyranny. Read more comparisons by Nicholas Stix.
Obviously, that was dated because there's been far more J6ers that have been arrested, charged, and incarcerated.
Over 1,100
But
now.
when you've got a D.C. court system and the DOJ inside the Beltway that is handling all of this, well,
It's 90.
you brought up to me, Donna, something about the judge that is handling.
Chutkin, she is comparing 9/11 and the Boston bombing to what happened on January 6th, basically calling Donald Trump a terrorist. I mean, it's an insult just to even think that. But you know what the problem is? A lot of kids today, I sound like my mother, these kids today weren't even alive on 9/11. So they have no idea what was going on. The history is not being taught. And therefore, you've got judges who are activist judges. They're not learning the Constitution, even in Ivy Leagues. In fact, especially in Ivy League law schools, they're being taught activism. These judges hate Donald Trump. They even have posted things saying that they can't stand the guy. Meanwhile, they use texts from the Jan 6ers against them in a court of law and throw the book at them. But this woman, Chutkin, basically has said that Donald Trump is a terrorist. And she compares January 6th to 9/11 and the Boston bombing. And you know what the other thing is, which is insane? And Julie Kelly did a great job with this. There's 12.8 million pages of documents in this case against Donald Trump in D.C. That's about 65,000 pages a day his lawyers have to read. And she wants to go to trial in March. Initially, she wanted January. Now she wants March because she's pushing this, even though other Jan 6ers have been rotting in jail now for 2.5 years without any kind of bond, trial, nothing. Some of them obviously have been tried and they've had the book thrown at them, but many others have not even been tried and they've been there for 2.5 years.
Well, here's the thing. Just remember this. You can traffic a 6-year-old child. You can be charged, indicted, tried, convicted, and sentenced for trafficking a child. And you can do less time than, say, Kelly Meggs, Oath Keeper.
Stuart Rhodes.
No violent charges whatsoever.
The Proud Boys.
No criminal background history.
No. And
you can also murder someone.
yeah.
Hey, you could shoot them 11 times and take a plea deal and do less time than some of the Proud Boys and some of the Oath Keepers, many of which had no violent charges brought against them.
Yep. The double standard is eye-opening.
Really wrong.
And the discovery with the classified documents, this is what she's saying when the defense attorney for Trump says, I just got on this case. She goes, well, we had a grand jury a year and a half ago, almost 2 years ago.
She talks like Mitch McConnell. Did you guys notice that? Whoever she's talking about, this judge,
they all sound like Mitch McConnell.
Must talk like Mitch McConnell.
Stop. Oh, man. But seriously, he's going, I just got hired. And she's saying, well, you should have known if you had a grand jury. I read the whole.
You should have been preparing for the past 2 years that we were going to indict you.
I mean, this guy just got hired. So Trump should have hired lawyers for something that he was never indicted for or charged with. I mean, this is asinine. I don't understand how anybody who's a lawyer, let alone a judge, can allow this to happen.
So let me ask you this, Donna. If you buy a loaf of bread and you buy some mayonnaise, and you buy some lettuce, and you buy some maters and some ham, and then you make the ham sandwich, should you be indicted when you're at the grocery store buying those groceries?
You always indict a ham sandwich.
Hey, did I tell you guys? Beef jerky's back. CowboyLogicBeefJerky.com. 10% off with $17.76.
Yep.
The only thing missing right now is that spaghetti western music. But don't worry. We're probably going to play it on the break. Donna, you've got about 20 seconds to tell us something more important than Cowboy Logic.
There's
beef
nothing
jerky.
more important than that. There's nothing more important than the Cowboy Logic. Where's my other? Cowboy Logic, beefjerky.com.
It's back.
There you go, folks.
Hey, on a serious note, we've been waiting a long time for that to get back here, and Patrick Robinette's been working super hard to make it all happen. Cowboy Logic, beefjerky.com, 1776. Get you 10% off. We'll be right back. Hey everybody, Don Neuen with Cowboy Logic. This commercial is about Cowboy Logic beef jerky, but we're going to do it a little different this time. We're going to make you really want it. So I've got some out to shoot. We have 4 different flavors, Cowboy Logic, beefjerky.com. I'll do it a little different. For the next 45 seconds, I'm just going to sit here and eat some beef jerky. Good. CowboyLogicBeefJerky.com. Promo code 1776 gets you 10% off.
And we're back on Cowboy Logic. I want to reiterate.
Did I remind everybody that beef jerky's back. Thank you. Back to you, Donna.
The Georgia Record. Gentleman by the name of Bill Quinn runs that, and boy, he's come out with a bombshell. We'll see how this develops throughout the coming weeks. Fannie Willis, as I was talking about earlier, connected to a sprawling web of election fraud and laundering that spans across multiple states and multiple jurisdictions. Again, this is in the Georgia Record. And they're saying that apparently sources close to the matter suggest that Willis was a massive beneficiary in the federal and Georgia RICO enterprises. Kind of what she's been saying Trump was doing, right? It appears that she is currently playing a key role in orchestrating a systematic scheme to manipulate election outcomes, casting doubt on the integrity of the entire electoral process. So we'll see what happens with that. But you know, they say accuse, I guess the left, in my opinion, is massively guilty of accusing the right of what they themselves are doing. And this may be the very latest. But again, we're the media, the alternative media. And you know what we are?
What an embarrassing field to be in.
Yes,
right now.
I know. Well, I shouldn't even say that because and this is what's happening now is the mainstream media is fearing folks like Rav, and alternate means of information because people don't have to rely on the major networks anymore. But you know what? We're the latest threat to democracy.
Unfortunately, some members of the media
use their platforms to push their own personal bias. And agenda to control exactly what people think. This is extremely dangerous to our democracy.
It's truly dangerous to our democracy.
This is like a weekly occurrence.
They read their marching orders.
I mean, they say the same damn words. They don't even have the creativity to change things around. Ron, run that again. It's unbelievable.
Unfortunately, some members of the media
use their platforms to push their own personal bias. And agenda to control exactly what people think. This is extremely dangerous to our democracy.
Sounds exactly like the mainstream media.
Yeah, it's what they themselves are doing. We are guilty of actually trying to see both sides of the story here, I
don't know where the level of stupid is greater. With those talking heads that you just saw or the people that actually tune into the shows.
Yeah.
I mean, it's got to be a level of
how about
doltism.
This? How about
this? There you go, Genghis. Doltism. Word for the week.
Okay, how about this? Why libs hate Trump? They don't even know. Check this out.
Donald Trump has accused me of whatever.
With the way things are, I think Trump is gaining a lot of ground because he's
just like the things he says about women and like the racism.
Like what?
Too many. Yeah.
My question is just what are you protesting today?
Trump. Why are you here?
I'm here to ask people why they're protesting Trump. What's the biggest thing that Trump has said? What is the biggest action he's taken that's really pushed you to want to come protest?
The list is endless. I don't think I could come up with a single one.
Can you give me one specific thing that he's done? What's the biggest thing to you specifically?
No.
It's his entire person, the persona that he is, everything about him. Everything about him. He just lies. Everything he does is.
What's one of the biggest lies that really angered you?
Michael, do you have something?
What is one of the most divisive things that Trump said to you that really pushed you to want to come protest today?
I can't think right now.
No, just one thing. Just one big thing that Trump did.
Answer that. Answer that.
Hey, when in doubt, ask Michael to answer it. I think I may have answered my own question from earlier, Donna. The bigger dolts might be the libs. Because the mainstream media is being paid to look like idiots.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. They actually are an arm of the Democrat Party right now. Once Barack Obama got rid of the Smith-Mundt Act, look it up, basically allowing the federal government and media to kind of be one. And they are seriously a propaganda arm of the Democrat Party right now. We used to laugh in history class when we actually taught history. at Pravda, which was an arm of Russia, the Soviet Russia, their media. They got nothing on this media right now. So Trump is getting indicted again from Fannie Willis again about another perfectly good phone call again. But you know what?
He's getting street cred.
He's getting street cred.
He's getting street cred.
That mugshot.
Hey, listen, before we roll this clip, you guys need to think about something. You know, back in 2020 or 2016, there was a percentage of the black vote that we talked about, and I want to say it was 18%, that if Trump ended up securing that 18% of the black vote, that the Democrat Party couldn't catch up. I'm hearing right now that it's busting past 20%. And this may be why. Roll it, Ron.
When are you guys going to learn? The more you indict, the more we unite. Facts. It's Trump 2024. We don't care. You heard me? We already made our mind up. You already know when the hood got your back. Man, they deep in the hood, gangsters, hollering about Trump 2024. You heard me? Whoop, whoop, wah. Gangsters. The hood got this man back. I'm just trying to tell you. You heard me? And we ain't stupid, man, American people, man. We ain't all them talking about lockdowns and back wearing the mask and all that. You know, they got a new virus coming and it's gonna be, man, I don't care. Ain't fooling nobody no more with none of that. You know, new jack, man, nobody being fooled no more. We all the way up, you heard me? It's Trump 2024. That's what it's gonna be, cause we ain't having nothing else.
Ain't having nothing else.
You know,
that man's speaking the gospel.
Yeah. They were saying Martin Luther King got extremely popular when he got a mugshot. And so that's a huge problem here, folks, because people are seeing it of all races and creeds, okay? Let's look at this. Trump versus Biden. Inflation was 8.6 right now. Under Trump, 1.4%. So you see that when you go to buy your groceries. Gas, over $5 a gallon, back up there now. Maybe $1.80 under Trump, a little bit more. Mortgage rates, if you're lucky, 6 or 7% right now under Biden, 2 to 3% under Trump. I mean, of course, the border was secure. Vax was voluntary under Trump. A lot of people don't want to admit it, but it was. He never, ever made anything mandatory. The vax wasn't even out, quite honestly, at that point. Mandated, obviously, by Joe Biden and his ilk, which, quite honestly, I also believe is Barack Obama, part 3. But that's starting to come out now, too. As far as senility, Biden, yes. Trump, no. I mean, this is really,
you know,
the double standard.
You and
really
I talked about this past week. Now, without going into a lot of details, Donna and I have been around an elderly person that had mild dementia. And one of the things that we could never count on was that when we had, and it was Donna's mom, when we had her out in a public place, whether it was a restaurant or a grocery store or whatever, you never knew what was going to come out of her mouth.
Uninhibited.
Okay? She was completely uninhibited, and she didn't care.
No.
Okay?
It's actually kind of funny sometimes.
Yeah. Sometimes it was really hilarious. Compared to Donna's mom, Joe Biden is light years further down the road with his disease.
She was much older than him,
okay,
too, quite honestly. It's scary when it's the president. I mean,
but what I'm getting at here is that at some point, I think that Joe Biden is going to say something on a hot mic that not even Corinne is going to be able to walk back. Not even the left is going to be able to walk back. I think he's going to drop a tactical nuke that's going to, you're just not going to be able to walk it back. And I'm not going to speculate on what that might be, but we all know that the man's a racist. Maybe that's going to pop out.
Or let's look at when he was vice president. I'm withholding $1 billion until Barack Obama gives the okay, but that seemed to slip off.
Maybe he will just tell everybody the nuclear codes.
Yeah, that'd be great. And with the dozens of lawyers he's now hired, because he says even though he hasn't done anything wrong, he's got a war room now that he's hired dozens of lawyers to fight against impeachment.
We got 3 seconds. Go buy you some jerky. It's back up and live. CowboyLogicBeefJerky.com. Promo code 1776. We'll get you right back. Welcome back to Cowboy Logic, and we will continue to spotlight and give J6ers and their families a voice. And you guys know we've done a lot with J6ers coming to us from behind bars, but we haven't quite done as much with the families that are, quite frankly, behind bars at home.
Suffering as well.
And rest assured that the families are suffering as much as the J6ers are that are incarcerated. We'd like to bring on Angel Harrelson. She is the wife of Kenny Harrelson, who is a good Oath Keeper friend of ours, who spent more than 2 years behind bars in D.C. waiting for his trial.
Army sergeant.
Waiting for his trial. Thank you, Donna. Waiting for his trial. And now he's in the Bureau of Prisons. Angel, welcome to Cowboy Logic. We're going to find out a little bit, first of all, about what this has done to your family in the absence of your beloved Kenny. And why don't you start off by telling us what this has done for, how this has affected your world for the past 2.5, almost 3 years.
First, I want to say thank you for having me on, and I really appreciate everything y'all do for us and for everyone else. But what has affected us having him in there, it has basically emotionally and physically, it has torn us apart physically and emotionally between me and the kids, worrying about him, making sure he's safe, constantly trying to get the money to be able to pay for everything. Health-wise, it's hard to even keep up with my own health. And I know I should be, but it's hard. And not having really any help around here, you know, the kids, of course, go off, do their own thing. But it's hard, it's rough, and we have to make ends meet somehow, and worrying about him is a constant battle.
Give us some background on him. Again, he's 73% of those arrested are former military, first responders, police. It's almost like
at least
anybody.
Those that we need to correct that. At least those that were in the DC jail
group, yeah.
In the J6 pod at one time. Yes, 72 to 73% of those were military and former law enforcement, first responders. Go ahead.
Yeah. Well, he had served his time in the Army, and of course, he got medically retired. And the reason why he got medically retired is because of an incident that happened right before 2 weeks before he was supposed to deploy. He was in training, and well, of course, he got knocked down off of a 2-story building, and that ended up causing him to get medically retired. And he couldn't go with his brothers and sisters to be deployed. But they caused him to get 100% disabled rating through the VA. And that has caused him a lot of issues with his health as well because of the medications. He was constantly on medications. It's just.
Now, have those VA benefits been stripped from him?
They have twice. I have fought it every single time, got it back, fought it again, got it back. And this time they, because he has been sentenced and he started his sentence, they suspended it this time. But I just received a letter just yesterday. I didn't get to tell y'all that, but just yesterday, I just received a letter stating that because I put in a VBA, which is for me to get his portions to be able to pay the bills and stuff, I got approved.
Yay.
So I can continue paying the bills.
How long a sentence did he get, and how much longer do you think he's really looking at?
He got 48 months, and he's already served 907 days as of today. And he is looking at getting out probably, give or take, around between this November to January. I'm not sure. It just depends on them.
You know, on January 6th, we would have thought this is absurd. You know, people getting 2, 3, 4 years, 5 years actually is almost a blessing in some cases. This is so absurd. Angel, you're very talented, though. You are kind of putting your sights on something else to kind of keep yourself busy. And boy, can you sew. I mean, you are.
Well, hey, listen, we've talked about Angel's patriotbattle.org before. And you guys have seen me wearing the hat patches that I wear on the ball caps. But there's more than that. There's T-shirts. There's other types of patches that she's making. Donna's going to show some of these. But here's what's so beautiful and important for you guys to know about this. The Harrelson family is looking not for a handout. They're looking for a hand up. And from day one, when we started talking to Kenny Harrelson and when we started talking to Angel, They have always said, "No, don't worry about a give, send, go to us. We want to earn our keep, and this is how you can help." If you go to angelspatriotbattle.org, go to that website. You can see it right across the top of the screen. Anything that you buy on there, Angel has produced, made, created, invented. It's her passion. And this is doing a couple of things. Not only is it keeping money coming in for the family until Kenny can get back home and get back into society where he belongs, but it's giving her something to do. Mm-hmm. Because those of you that have ever lost a loved one, I can't imagine, Angel, how long the days are. Yeah. I can't, or the nights for that matter. So tell us a little bit about angelspatriotbattle.org.
And tell us about this. This thing is awesome. This is beautiful.
Thank you. The only reason why I started angelspatriotbattle.org was because I tried to get a job. I had 4 jobs, lost all 4 of them because of who I'm married to and because they considered me as a high-risk employee. So I decided to take initiative and do something that I am very passionate about. I love arts and crafts. So I decided to start creating something. And I took a few of my drawings. I started off with my drawings first, which I have on one of my shirts, which that's my drawing. I drew myself, and I made it into a design on a shirt.
Wow.
Awesome. And they can buy that on the website too, right?
And we see hats behind you. You've got the American flag, C2B, which we don't have here because Don has it on his hat, and he's been wearing it all week.
Oh, yeah.
And this
I wear it all the time.
Yeah, and this patch is really... How long does it take you to make these larger patches?
That took me 70 minutes to make that patch. Wow. That's not including switching out threads because I use one needle, and my machine is just a one-needle machine.
Mm-hmm. And it's just showing the obviously military. It's amazing.
Hey,
it's really good.
Any of you Rav Cowboy Logic warriors that are loaded with money, get in touch with Angel here. She's got a new embroidery machine that she's picked out, and if I'm not mistaken, Angel, it's someplace between $5,000 and $6,000, right?
Yes.
And they get you that, and you're going to be kicking ass and taking names, right?
That's right. And I'll be able to do it directly on hats instead. This is my hat.
There you go.
Great.
So any of you guys got a spare $5,000 or $6,000 laying around that you just want to make a feel-good moment and pay it forward, that's how to do it right there. We'll get that machine for Angel, and she can be cranking them out.
In the meantime, prayers for Kenny and you and your family. It's just so wrong. There's just no way to say it. No other way to say it. It's so wrong on so many levels to be targeted by your federal government when you've given so much to your country, quite honestly, like you and your husband have. You know, I love the Cowboy Logic patch.
All right, here's the thing. I love that one. Here's the thing, ladies and gentlemen. Kenny can't watch the show anymore because he's in the Bureau of Prisons, and most of the BOP facilities don't have the tablets with the Pluto TV. So he can't watch his beautiful wife do this show right now, but he knows she's on. And again, the Harrelson family is not looking for a handout. They're looking for a hand up. And you can be that hand, and you can help them up by going to angelspatriotbattle.org. Please help out this family. And again, anybody got $5,000-$6,000 laying around? Let's get her that new machine.
$5 and $10 at a clip, it adds up.
Hey,
thanks,
listen,
Angel.
We appreciate you being here, Angel. Ladies and gentlemen, we'll be right back with more Cowboy Logic. Hey, everybody, we got a brand new sponsor at Cowboy Logic. 1776 promo code gets you 15% off.
SugarCreekGoods.com.
Yeah.
We are talking about all natural cleansers, scrubs, creams. This is the body butter. I love this. This is awesome stuff. Don, let me put a little bit on here. Don uses the Freedom Bar because the Freedom Bar is even more special, right? Because 100% of the Freedom Bar proceeds go to Jan Sixers. There you go. Perfect.
Freedom Bar, all proceeds go to J Sixers.
Again, it's sugarcreekgoods.com. Hey, I got the toner too, and let me tell you something. It minimizes the pores on your face.
Yeah,
it's
she
awesome.
uses it before the show.
I only used it a couple days so
and
far.
I use this every day. And these bars last. They don't disappear like a lot of this stuff.
That's sugarcreekgoods.com. Sugarcreekgoods.com.
Welcome back to Cowboy Logic. We are back in the D.C. jail talking to a beloved Jay Sixer. This time we've got Zach Reel on here. You guys have probably seen Zach in the news quite a bit, and that's because he was one of the Proud Boy casualties that walked into a D.C. courtroom over the last few months and has just received his sentence. He's asked to come on the show and be able to talk to you guys. Zach, welcome to Cowboy Logic, my friend. I'm just going to throw it to you, and you get to talk to the world.
All right. Well, hey, how you doing today? Thanks for having me on. Really just trying to, get my word out there, raise awareness to the atrocities that are going on right now. Those that aren't aware, I was just sentenced to 15 years in federal prison for the role in the January 6th Capitol protest. Now, I'm not convicted of any assaults. My co-defendants aren't either, but we were convicted of seditious conspiracy. And the seditious conspiracy is essentially similar to treason. It was created around back in the Civil War era. It was basically to prevent any sort of uprisings against the government, and it was used against us for the Capitol riot. And it was only used against 5 of us. 4 of us were convicted, and basically there was not a shred of evidence that led to us being convicted, but we were convicted anyway. And I'm sure everyone's well aware, you can't get a fair trial in D.C. And reason being, I mean, this is a political case. It's a very political case. This, doesn't get any more political than, a protest involving President Trump.
What did you actually, Zach, what did you actually do that day?
I actually we actually walked around, we marched around the city of Washington, D.C. With a few of us, a bunch of Proud Boys. We always, every time we go to a protest, we do a little march. We march around like the city that we're in, just to, do our own little protest and do our chants and everything. And we were doing chants, Antifa and USA, things of that nature. And, ultimately we ended up hearing that there was going to be a protest going on over at the Capitol, and that President Trump was going to be on his way over there. So we went over there to go meet him. And, after we were there for a little while, somebody gave the order to the police to push the crowd back about 30 feet. And at that time, there's probably thousands of people there at the time, so it was really difficult for the police to push the crowd back. So they started shooting projectiles and mace at the crowd and all sorts of things like that. And so it caused things to go haywire. Like I said, there's nowhere for the crowd to go. There was thousands of people that built it up over there to protest and watch the president speak. They thought the president was going to show up. And turns out the Secret Service that was protecting him at the time convinced him not to go, and he never showed up. That's the reason why he didn't show up. But yeah, and none of us were, convicted of any assaults or anything. We were convicted of destruction of a small waist-high fence. I didn't touch the fence, but I was convicted of it anyway. And two other gentlemen were convicted of it. They were standing near it, but they didn't break it. There was actually 2 people on video that were vigorously shaking the fence and kicking it and breaking it, and they were never charged.
Zach, I know that you probably are limited as to what you can see, but in the last couple of years now, 2+ years, we are seeing Ray Epps basically doing that very thing. And all of a sudden, a bike rack is a government facility, I guess, and it's a felony to push a bike rack down. And the way that you guys are underneath the microscope at this point, I can only hope that you're going to try to appeal this. Can you update us on that?
Oh, 100%. We're already on the appeals process right now. I hired an appeals attorney recently, which is Norm Pattis, which is actually the same lawyer that Mr. Joe Biggs was using. So we're both using him, and a couple other guys are utilizing their appeals attorneys as well. We're aggressively going to be appealing this. I mean, this is a travesty of justice. 15 years for what? Like, I didn't do anything that day. There's no reason why I should have been even in jail for 2.5 years now, let alone 15 total years. I mean, this is absurd. Yeah. I mean, people go to jail for 15 years for murder.
They go for less than that. There's recently in the news, there's a guy that shot somebody 11 times. He took a plea deal. He got 11 years. I mean, you can traffic children and get less time than you guys are getting. Let me ask you this, Zach. Why do you feel that the Proud Boys and the Oath Keepers have been hammered so hard, have been targeted so hard, and have been sentenced so abnormally hard? Why is that?
The reason why I think is because all roads lead to Trump, President Trump. They want to take down President Trump, and they know that if they're able to criminalize a group, then they can in turn attack every other person in that group under the umbrella of the group. And statistically speaking, they have a greater chance of finding somebody in that group that might have some sort of tie to the Trump administration, and that they could put their little piece of, their little bogus puzzle together and try and take him down. That's what it's all about. It has nothing to do with us actually being guilty of any sort of crimes. We didn't do anything. It all has to do with trying to take down President Trump. And, at times, it seems like a lot of times they do attack us personally. Another thing, the government fears unity, and the Proud Boys have the most diverse background people. We accept everybody in our group, despite what the media says, and that terrifies them.
Yep.
How is your family?
Person wants turn.
Yeah. How's your family coping with this? Got a couple minutes left.
Oh, actually, it's been rough on them, but they're by my side. My wife's by my side. Our family's by our side, and we've been prepared to fight this all the way. And I lucked out. I lucked out with my wife, and like I said, she's a fighter, and she's supporting me all the way through this. We know we're going to get this overturned, and it's only going to be a matter of time.
We've got about 2 minutes left. I want to give you an opportunity to talk to the American people. They can all see your Send Go account. Ladies and gentlemen, all of these J6ers need help. They need help financially, and sometimes they move that money to their families so their families pay things like mortgages and grocery bills. But, Zach, you got about a minute and a half. Please talk to the American people, and at the same time, you're also able to talk to your beloved family.
All right, will do. So I'm actually a military veteran, Marine Corps vet, and I was actually receiving a disability payment from the VA. The government cut that off when I was charged with seditious conspiracy. That was actually helping pay for my family at the time. Help my family at the time while I was in jail. My wife was in college at the time, so she actually can't get work at this time now because of my name. Anything helps. If anybody can go to defendzach.com, it'll take you to GSG's Give Send Go. defendzach.com. We're trying to raise as much as we can to pay for defense attorneys, a civil attorney and a criminal attorney. And like I said, we had her come cut off, and my wife can't get work because of this, and it's a shame. She really wants to work, and she doesn't deserve it, but she's suffering because of this as well. And we have a little baby who was born while I was incarcerated as well, and I also have an older daughter as well that
Have you seen that baby?
I've seen baby in the courtroom. I have not been able to have any interactions. I haven't been able to hold her hand.
That's just heartbreaking. It's just
this is
heartbreaking.
so wrong.
Oh, my God.
Zach, we appreciate you asking and reaching out to us to join us on the show. Ladies and gentlemen, all I can ask of you is that you reciprocate here and that you go visit Zach's Give Send Go. Zach, we will stay in touch, my friend, and we will follow up, and we'll have you back on again. Thanks for joining us. Ladies and gentlemen.
God bless you, Zach.
You're watching Cowboy Logic, and we'll be right back.
Hey everybody, Donna Fiducia here to tell you about MyPillow and MyStore.com. Promo code 1776 supports Cowboy Logic and, of course, Mike Lindell. Let me tell you what we just got from My Store. This is the big-ass bag of My Coffee. And it says on the back here that Mike said it helps him stay energized and focused. Like Mike Lindell needs more energy But yeah, hey, far it to be for me to judge. But my coffee comes in all kinds of different flavors, including decaf. We got it. We love it. There's dog beds, obviously, at my store and mypillow.com. Of course, the pillows, the new 2.0 pillows, the sheets, everything. You name it, Mike Lindell has it. Go to my store and mypillow.com. Promo code 1776 supports the great Mike Lindell. What a patriot he is. And Cowboy Logic. We certainly appreciate it. That's My Pillow and My Store, promo code 1776. Don. Don.
Yeah, man.
What are you doing?
Oh, I'm reading Jovan's book.
Don.
You.
What are you doing?
I'm reading Jovan's book.
Don.
You.
What are you doing?
I'm reading Jovan's book.
What are you doing?
I'm reading Jovan's book.
Don, what are you doing?
I'm reading Jovan's book!
Here it is.
I'm reading Jovan's book.
Did you see the dog looking up?
Oh, that is priceless, guys. Thank you so
There it
very much.
is.
That is priceless. I love that.
Hashtag, I'm reading Jovan's book.
Yep. Hashtag, we got autographed copy. Loving it, loving it, loving it. Haven't
Thank you
finished
very
it. Haven't finished
Thank
it,
you.
but I'm sure you guys can fill us in on everything that's going on because obviously lots of our RAV family love you too, Jovan.
Yeah, man.
And we know 3 things that are needed: people, paper, and programs, okay? And this is a huge problem now because here in Georgia, the paper's gone. And
Yes.
therefore, the chance that we had to have a real forensic audit here in Georgia is gone. Maricopa is our only hope. But again, let me just tell everybody, if you don't know, it's JovanHuttonPulitzer.locals.com. You can catch him also on just about all the social media angles and areas, and 7 a.m., 7 p.m. Central Time, 7 days a week. And he is a technology expert, inventor, and startup founder, best known for the QR code and creating patents, licenses to more than 330 companies, some of the biggest like AOL, IBM, and Google. He is a laureate medal winner, among many other accolades, and winner of the 2001 laureate medal for most likely to change society, 21 years early on that one. I mean, every single phone. This has got your technology on it. And therefore, the whole thing, really, Jovan, which a lot of people don't realize, is the fact that even if we think we're voting, we're not. But I digress. We'll get to that in a second. Explain, though, the last 30 or 40 years, I guess it is, you've mentioned that the Republicans had this stand down situation, and it was court ordered. And finally, that has come off, and we have a possibility of having that thrown back at the Republicans again.
Right. It was a consent decree. It means we're going to sue you. We're going to threaten to sue you. You get scared. You don't want it to go to court. So you intentionally sign the decree. So it's a consent decree. And what happened is back in the late 80s, right at the 90s, the Democrats accused Republicans of stealing elections and voting irregularities. So they threatened to sue. There was a few court battles back and forth, and I'll accelerate it all. But the Republican Party agreed to a consent decree saying, okay, we won't. No, I want you to understand this remedy. Hey, Republicans, we think we caught you cheating. We need you to sign an agreement that you won't sue us for cheating. That's how it works. And so supposedly the Republicans got caught. They signed a consent decree saying they would not bring any lawsuits regarding election integrity. And once that got into an order in place, states replicated it. And so for almost 40 years, until just before the 2020 election, your GOP, my GOP, has been forbidden to even say or bring up the issue of election integrity. So if we were to think of it in generations, 2 generations of people, on average, 5 generations of lawmakers came into a system to where they were absolutely forbidden to say that anything was not done right, or that it was voter fraud, or something was wrong, or the Democrats did something wrong, because they agreed they wouldn't sue them. And so all these lawmakers forgot, or basically got threatened if they brought it up. And so they didn't bring it up, so they collectively forgot. And that order just got lifted before we headed into the 2020 election. And that is exclusively why the media has been able to say for so long there's no such thing as election fraud, and why the Republicans couldn't push back on it. And it basically cemented that thought in history for over 2 generations of people.
You know, but we're seeing it in so many areas. We're seeing it with judges who basically are nothing but activists now. So if you're at least the least bit conservative, they throw the book at you. But on left, you know, they can run roughshod over you. We're seeing it with the Jan 6ers, and we're seeing it really, obviously, with all of the quote unquote forensic audits. And thank God we do have Arizona. We got a couple of minutes left in this first segment here. Talk about the GOP plan, because as far as I'm concerned, if Ron is behind it, it stinks, quite honestly.
Well, the GOP's bright idea, they seem to think that you can outvote election fraud, which you cannot do when you have 21 million bad voters on the rolls. So they said, hey, the Dems did it, so let's go ballot harvest. But they renamed it a nicer, pleasant version called ballot banking. And they're going to get out there and try to get people to vote early. Well, what you need to know is the thing that gives you the ability to vote early is the ability to mail everybody ballots. So what they're really saying is we're going to keep mail-in ballots. And they think they're going to outvote this. It's a scam. It is a total joke. The GOP's in on it because it's going to keep mail-in voting in place. And it's always going to be about actionable intelligence, where they have enough information to know if their person's going to get in between their agreement as a uniparty, and they'll be able to manipulate. But I think it's a hook, meaning they're going to nail a Republican for ballot harvesting incorrectly. They're going to throw the book at them. They're going to throw them under the jail, and they're going to say, hey, see, we couldn't let the Republicans out of this. We let them out of this agreement. We have to go back under this agreement. That's what I think the grand plan is.
How come it's so one-sided, though? I just don't understand that. They're so obvious. I mean, in 2022...
Well, how many sides are there in a uniparty?
Well, no, that's true.
One.
There you go. Because in 2022, they basically erased Election Day voting.
I was going to ask you if the GOP is that freaking stupid, or if they want to lose until you emphasize the uniparty.
Yeah, I mean,
well, if you say, isn't it balanced? Aren't there two sides? When you realize a uniparty, there's only one side, and when there's only one side and do it for the one side, they're always what? On target.
Yeah.
Yeah. So unbelievable. In Georgia, we had a situation where we almost had a decent forensic audit, but there was a lull there. And next thing you know, those ballots, again, the paper has obviously been destroyed now because it was over the 2-year limit. When we come back after this break, I want to talk about that and the fact that many states are actually making it illegal to count the paper ballots. What I want to know is, what are they actually so afraid of?
Yeah.
All right, we'll be back with more with Jovan Hutton Pulitzer. JovanHuttonPulitzer.locals.com. Folks, follow him. You will not be disappointed. You'll be ahead of the curve. We'll be back right after this.
Hey everybody, Don Neuen with Cowboy Logic here. Talk about our newest sponsor, Nemo Arms. NemoArms.com. Trot over to that website and check it out. You're going to be blown away at the quality and craftsmanship behind these fine weapons. It's the only weapons company Cowboy Logic endorses. Nemo Arms at NemoArms.com. You want a 223-556 AR platform? NemoArms.com. You want to bump it up a little bit, go to a 300 Blackout? NemoArms.com. You want to get one of them big boys? How about a 300 Win Mag that won't take your shoulder off because they have fine-tuned the recoil problem? NemoArms.com. We got lightweight models. We got the big stout 458s. These are huge. Hey, Nemo Arms, NemoArms.com. They've also got a beautiful selection of shotguns over and under. Nemo Arms, NemoArms.com. Go check them out.
And welcome back to Cowboy Logic, everyone. Our special guest for this entire hour is the man himself that has done the only real forensic audit, and that was in Maricopa County. Despite people basically blackballing you, Jovan, if that damn information can get out, we might actually have some standing here. Because we thought we had standing here in Georgia, and lo and behold, the ballots got destroyed because of all the court wranglings back and forth. I mean, we've had Sally Grubbs, our mutual friend, on a few times, and she says it's really amazing here in Georgia. They not only come back from the dead and vote, but they actually move from county to county and precinct to precinct, and then they die again right after the election. Moving dead. I mean, so what's going on as far as the situation? Let's bring in Trump's case now. We've even got Fani Willis, according to some people, having tweets and some social media posts where she actually questions election returns and election results. That was a Freudian slip. Election results more so than Donald Trump. And yet she's getting away with it, and Trump's going to go to jail for 400 years?
Well, the only thing correct in Fanny's life is her parents named her right. But aside from that, is you have to understand that Georgia is under attack. It's ground zero in a very interesting way now. You're 2 clicks behind the 8 ball in Georgia. Number one, your election day votes are done by ballot marking devices, which is the worst things in the world you can vote on. And then the second part of it is that, the systems are corrupt and they don't want you to look at the paper. Let's just go back a bit. When you see the system, the deep state, give power to something and put media behind it and work hard to debunk it, they do that because it's true, not because it's bad information. If it was bad, stupid information, they wouldn't even focus on it. They'd let you believe it. And so if we go back in time to how this game is played, that's why when we broke, here's how Sharpie Gate really works, and here's the function behind it to confuse the machines. Remember, in Maricopa, 130,000 ballots affected by Sharpies, but they had an extra 2.9 million votes on just those 120,000 ballots. So when the system focuses on something, you know that's really what you should be looking at because they're trying to push you away from it. Now, the same thing happened in all our findings in the Arizona audit with paper because they can't let you look at the paper. The paper is the historical document of exactly what happened. So they play this game, and this is what they're playing with President Trump and others, is they're playing this game to say that all of the talk about election issues or election fraud was really dog whistles to get people to get up in arms and to commit an insurrection. Now, the only thing that I've never understood about the left and dog whistles, if dog whistles are silent, how does the left always hear them? But I digress. And so all of a sudden they're throwing all these suits and saying it's an insurrection because it's just something that you should not talk about. Now, think of where we would be. You had Arizona, the single largest audit of any election in American history. Arizona is the 4th largest precinct in the United States, voting county in the United States, the 2nd largest group of voters in the United States. And the system thought that it was going to be just a regular count and you couldn't tell anything by it. It'd be all jumbled. When they really realized how much could really be found out and that they could be found out, they put a full court press to make sure it never happens again. That's why they're outlawing looking at the people, paper, and programs, and they want you to focus on the machines. Georgia would have been great if Georgia would have been able to follow through. If Georgia, unfortunately, and certain people would have kept their mouth shut, we'd have a second forensic audit, and that would have been Fulton County, Georgia. The ballots that we're going to be looked at were only about 150,000 ballots. Not that it's any big batch of ballots, but it's 150,000 ballots that they used for mail-in votes coming in, and we would have been able to learn quite a bit. But unfortunately, the way this game is played with misdirection, bad actors, intentional delays, they were able to run out the clock. The single most important clock is to run out the clock to the point in time in history where they have the ability to destroy everything and say, sorry, it was just too much to store, too much to have, and we have to make room for the next election. Everything's rigged from top to bottom.
How does Trump defend himself against this?
Well, the good thing about it is double. Number one, there's been enough investigation to justify that Donald J. Trump and everybody involved had more than enough logical reason to believe that the election was not run properly. There is no way that they can say that he just made this up. And remember, that's the hurdle they have to say. They have to say he knew that he didn't win the election, so he intentionally pivoted and went this way to create a conspiracy to create an insurrection.
Right.
So they have to be able to prove there was not any existence of evidence anywhere at any time in the United States. Remember, we're talking about the President of the United States, that did not lead him to believe that there was something wrong, that he would have just known beyond a shadow of doubt that he lost. Well, if we just go back to some of the first evidence any of us saw at that time, which was Atrium County, and remember, I don't talk about the machines because I don't care about the machines. The machines don't change the vote. It's people, paper, and programs. And if we just go back to Atrium County, the very first type of recount of anything you saw, you watched it on television and you saw videos. Now, here's what you watched on television. You watched all of the broadcasters and everybody telling us this was the single largest execution of mail-in ballots in the United States of America, that most people voted by mail-in ballots because of COVID. Well, a mail-in ballot has a distinct feature, and that's the fact that it's folded. It's mechanically folded. Now, when you take something physical, an object of any kind, and you apply forces, movements, or pressure to change that object, that's called a kinematic force or a kinematic pressure on the object. Therefore, it leaves an indicator that something happened. In this case, it's an artifact that can never be hidden once again. That's the fold. So we watched on TV stacks and stacks of ballots where people were doing an audit the first time saying, wait a minute, there's no folds here. And we're seeing stacks of them, perfectly clean papers. There's no folds. And then if you looked at some videos that were released from those audits, people are saying to the supervisors of the audit, hey, you got us counting these, and this paper's not right, and this is supposed to be a mailed-in ballot, meaning marked by hand, and this is clearly marked by a machine. And by the way, this is a mail-in ballot, and it's not folded. And you hear the supervisor saying, shut up, you're here to count, and the way you count it is only count the paper, you can't talk about anything else. So there is more than enough evidence prior to this January 6th setup for Donald Trump to say, I have more than enough reason to believe that this election had maladministration, malfeasance, and bad acts, because by that time we were already finding trash bins filled with undeliverable ballots. People were reporting in counters that there were stacks and stacks and stacks, hundreds if not thousands of ballots at a time in a row with Biden, which is an impossibility in any election. And so they'll never go to court. That's the second part of it. I do not believe they are going to go to court. Here's what they're dealing with. They take the 18 people that they sued or indicted in Georgia. They're going to try to get every one of those 18 people to bend and crush in this legal pressure. And their escape valve will be to say, well, yeah, Donald Trump told me to say it. He told me to do it, because they're going to want to save their hides. And when you have a majority of those people say, well, yeah, I only did it because Trump told me, then it's not going to matter about the evidence. Then it's not going to matter about what gets presented. They're going to have already tried Donald Trump in the court of opinion. They're going to use these supposed Republicans behind them that are wimpy, and that's how they're going to try to prove their case. It was, in fact, a conspiracy.
You know, that's what we're seeing with the Jan 6ers. They're trying to get anyone who worked around Trump in his orbit to flip on him. And, I mean, to me, this is totally just a witch hunt because it's always on one side. Now, with that phone call...
Hold on. We only got 45 seconds, and I want to get a word in. You guys don't ever send me another email again.
You can't get a word in with this Italian.
Look at this.
Sorry, doesn't work.
So the bottom line, Jovan, is that if a mail-in ballot has not been fundamentally transformed,
right,
it's bogus.
It was never mailed, and it never went through the system.
Hey, I just had to throw in the old Barack Obama fundamentally transforming because something must be fundamentally transformed for it to be legitimate. Ladies and gentlemen, we've got the great Jovan Hutton Pulitzer, our good brother, in the barn with us tonight. You will be back with 2 more segments from him. Cowboy Logic will return.
Everybody, Donna Fiducia here from Cowboy Logic, and I got to tell you, I never had beef jerky until I moved down to Georgia, because I'm from Jersey. It's not exactly a main staple when usually spaghetti and meatballs is when you're from the Garden State. So here's the thing. We have our own line now of the Cowboy Logic beef jerky. If you go to cowboylogicbeefjerky.com, promo code 1776, you will get the freshest, best beef jerky on the planet from Harris Robinette Beef. I'm telling you, the best beef makes the best beef jerky. Cowboy Logic, beefjerky.com, promo code 1776. We got starters, we got teriyaki, we got chipotle, and the Bulldogger, which is the really, really strong one. You will like all kinds of different flavors. Again, it's Cowboy Logic, beefjerky.com, promo code 1776. And let me tell you something, you will not be disappointed. Cowboy Logic, beefjerky.com. Welcome back to Cowboy Logic, everyone. And our great guest this hour is Jovan Hutton Pulitzer. And that's Don Neuen with his number 2 pencil.
I'm stroking a beaver.
That's another.
Donna,
that's another story, folks.
Hey, do you want to touch my beaver right now?
No.
Yes, you do. Don't lie.
I guess
there
I
you
do.
go.
I guess I do. I guess I do. All right. You know what? I've been stressing for these last 2 segments, Jovan, so I think we need a bit of a break. Ron, if you would, we need to just have a little bit of a break where we can relax and unwind for a second.
Where are your NDM sticks? Yeah. Hold on, Jovan.
NDM.
Let's put on some glasses. I'll put on a few pairs.
What's so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fights. Oh, the ramparts we watched were so
Here we go.
Okay, get ready, folks. Here we go.
And the rocket train the bomb was gaining air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, traitors that star-spangled banner, yeah, wave for the land and of the free, and the home of the brave.
I love that song. It's my soundtrack that runs in my brain.
It's a great one. It's a great one.
It's the soundtrack when I wake up and do what I do in my brain.
Yep.
And I have to tell you, I don't even like the old Star Spangled Banner anymore. This one has permanently placed it in my mind because it's the true battle cry and energy we have to put into this, I'm telling you.
Dave Bray, USA. And he is awesome. And we're so happy that he had a bit of a health scare, and he's doing okay
Yes, he
now.
did.
Dave Bray, USA, folks,
But we
check
did
him
that
out.
for you, Jovan.
Yeah, we do that because
Thank you so very much.
we also need a break.
We
'cause
needed
it's
a break.
getting insane.
We needed a break.
It's getting insane.
And
But we
now
do,
that break's over.
Yeah, but we do love our anthem that the Jan Sixers sing that we end our show with too. I mean,
Yes.
that's an awesome one too. But Dave Bray USA is phenomenal, and he's got some new stuff out too. So check him out, folks. All right, when I went to vote here in Georgia, I saw these. Well, I guess you can call them barcodes at the end of the piece of paper that I printed out. Okay, Ron, let's show those barcodes there. Okay, these are all the various different barcodes. There's only one person that can read this without a scanner, and that would be one Jovan Hutton Pulitzer. What the hell does that say? And how can my machine? How can I know my vote counts?
Well, I'll do the first part for you. What they try to convince you, look at the barcodes at the top, and they're supposed to relate to the barcodes at the bottom. So let's take the longest one at the top. What that longest one at the top actually says, hey, I am item number 173,811. And just so you understand the sequence of where I'm running, I'm at 691126 OB 196A. And that's a code 128. And then you kind of look down and you'll see they're saying the first vote is for Donald J. Trump at the bottom. You see the kind of text part of it to the right, but you see the first code to the far column left, first column. Here's what it actually says. The first part of it says, hey, I am, in fact, part of bunch 173,811. But you can call me 172-711, and what has occurred right now is 6911 1B OB 036A. Now,
I knew that. I knew that.
Look, let's
what it
dig a
says.
little deeper and really unpack this, because we knew all that.
But here's what I did, though. I mean, it was this barcode was at the bottom of the printed out ballot.
Yes.
So what I did was I said to the guy, I said, I want to go back and see how many votes Donald Trump has in my little precinct. And once I put mine through and it's scanned, I want to make sure Donald Trump's got one more.
Right.
And he's like, I can't let you do that. I'm like, why can't you let me do it? This way I know that the barcode is working.
Right.
I mean, this is insane.
You know why he couldn't let you do that, right?
Why?
Yeah, he can't tell you how many votes anybody's
He can't tell you
got.
himself. Here's the bottom line. If you were to, show that code again, that's basically what's called 128 code. It's a very old code. It's either that or a Q code you get. And what they try to convince you, they call this a ballot receipt. What they try to convince you is, yes, you voted, and here's who you voted. Those codes on that paper do not say who you voted for, literally. And just so you know, you cannot, as a county recorder, a county board of supervisor, a county register of votes, a county election worker, anybody, there's not a single person in that building system at all, or government, that can tell you what those codes mean. Why? Because it's all proprietary, hitting a database depending upon the election management software system they used. And so how do they even themselves go to see if that's really a vote? Well, they do this really interesting trick. It's called an audit. And they have to ask permission to do it. And they have to be allowed by the voting company to check the remote databases and connect it. So just like us, can't really tell if there's a vote there without what? An audit and access to the database. They themselves cannot tell you. You could put those people on the witness stand and you could cross-examine them and say, tell me who this vote is for. Not only could they not tell you, but even if they said, well, it says Trump, and you say, confirm it, they would actually have to tell the truth. I can't confirm it. And then if you ask them, well, take me through the steps by which you would confirm it, they will tell you, well, we have to go through this, got to get permission here, we got to get this database and got to do it. So the question is, what's the difference between a full forensic audit or other auditors and the county people? In this case, not a thing. It is all smoke and mirrors. Sorry about that. My chair went out. It is all smoke and mirrors. And there is no way at all to verify that you actually got the vote. Hey, can y'all hear my wolf going off in the background? There is no way.
We thought it was one of ours.
No, it's my wolf. He's kind of going nuts in the background. He wants in, and I haven't let him in.
Maybe he tracked down and trapped a beaver.
I can only hope.
No, he's actually singing my praises for telling you the truth of this non-transparency. But that's
there you go.
But see, that's why they can't. Seriously, though, this is why they can't put you on the stand, because you could say that. And
that's
you're
right. I can tell them
again,
exactly what it is, and I can tell them exactly how it's audited. And why I could tell them this is very simple. The patents that allow that system to work, that's where you take any type of machine-readable code and you retrieve the information to be able to see what it means or where it points. Those are my patents. I've got 207 of them, and that's part of the reason they stay away from me in this, is because I can call them out on this crap.
Okay. We're going to throw you another curve here.
What's that say? What's that say?
This is
That's easy.
Goya Garbanzo.
Right now, tilt it just a bit. Okay, here's what it says. No, other way. Right there. Whoa. Here's what it says. Donnie, ready? Write this down. Sleep 6 feet further away from Don when he eats these.
You're right.
We love Goya. Guy is MAGA. The guy who owns Goya is MAGA. We buy his stuff. That would be a good one. No, but seriously, we laugh about this because if we don't, we're going to cry. I want to get to Arizona in the next break as well, after the break, because at this point, again, what you found, you did a full forensic audit. It's still never been able to come to fruition in a courthouse because, these judges basically, I feel in many cases, not only are they ideologues and basically have their own agenda, but I think they're being threatened as well. And the same with the lawyers.
We'll talk about it. It's rigged before the judges. It's rigged before it ever gets to the judges.
And Carrie and Abe are still alive.
Hold on. We 30 seconds. We have to go to break. I'm going to tease the opening question that I want to ask Jovan when we get back from the break, and that is, Jovan, is there any chance at all between now and the election in 2024 that the Republican Party or the conservative United States citizens are going to have a victory with this election? Ladies and gentlemen, we're going to have that question answered when we get back from this break, and we'll be right back.
Hey, gang, you know what food is great for you? Honey. And now it's time to MakeHoneyGreatAgain.com.
Yeah, baby.
Well, show this. Hold on. This Donald Trump, isn't that if nothing else, you're going to save the bottle afterward. You're not supposed to eat that much of it.
Yeah.
MakeHoneyGreatAgain.com. Again, honey really is something.
Drink honey like I do and do 4 or 5 takes of it.
MakeHoneyGreatAgain.com. Honey really is a superfood.
Woo! I'm all jacked up on that honey high.
You can cook with it. You know that it's great for you. I drink it actually with a little apple cider vinegar, and it tastes great, and it's good for you. Helps you lose weight. MakeHoneyGreatAgain.com. Promo code 1776.
Hey, Donna, I'm all jacked up. Why? This is the 4th take of this commercial, and each time I'm drinking honey, so I'm all jacked up on the natural sugar high.
back with me, and I get to finally ask a question. Jovan, you know, we've been following you very closely since the December 2020 election. And I got to be real candid. I don't have good vibes about the 2024 election. And I'm very concerned that we may yet again have depressing news when we wake up the morning after Election Day or the weeks following. What do you see? And you're looking into your Jovan crystal ball. What do you see happening in 2024? And if there is a chance that we can be victorious, what needs to happen?
You have to understand that we live in a world of opposites, not only that where men can be women, women can be men, but it's also the same in election integrity. The stuff they'll allow you to see is the stuff they know that won't move the needle. The stuff they forbid you to see or the stuff that will actually move the needle and take them out of office. And that's how this game is played. I would have rather been at this point in time had Georgia or another state under our belt with a full forensic audit, because remember, they always use those words, widespread. And so the fact that they were able to limit it to Arizona, the fact that operatives got around and told all these states that full forensic audits were a scam and a grift and got them stopped, it kept us from being in a position of having multiple states to basically show the commonalities and widespread. Now, in Georgia, which is coming down at the battleground, there were audits to ballot or ballots to audit, but in fact, they've been destroyed by now. So here's my take on 2024. The GOP and several of the factions in GOP, election integrity stuff, are now trying to tell you we're going to fractal this, we're going to eagle eye this, and we're going to bring in this new technology to stop it. All vaporware, all crap doesn't stop it. Even in Arizona, in Arizona, where you found out that we were finally going to get information out of Runbeck by subpoena, by law, which they neglected to do for 2 years. When it came to the point that the subpoenas were enforceable and Runbeck was going to be compelled by law, what happened? Magically, Runbeck gets bought by the brother of the head of the Senate in Arizona, or the House, or whatever. And now they're just going, well, at least we have somebody in, and it won't happen again in the future. They're doing everything they can to not look backwards.
Funny how
we're not going to be able to beat this by ballot banking. We're not going to be able to beat this by canvassing and beating on doors. You cannot outvote what's already in the system. We have to clean our rolls and get to it. So where do I stand on 2024? The GOP is going to do nothing. The GOP has done nothing, and the GOP is part of the problem. They are part of the rig, and they're going around telling you, with people who don't know, well, the reason they beat Kerry Lake in Arizona is because y'all waited to vote on Election Day, and not enough people showed up on that day because you were too lazy. That's a lie. And so the only chance we have is when you realize how continual you've been lied to, and how everything you think you follow the party because they've been in it for 20 years or 30 years, and you keep on following their advice instead of scrubbing your voter rolls and showing up on Election Day and demanding your rights or getting your head straight about what it really means to be election integrity. If we don't get that done, we're over. But people don't seem to have common sense. How do all these speakers that travel around to all of these GOPs, to all these little cities, we're going to do a tour, we're going to do a magistrate tour, we're going to do this. How do you think they get on the road and fund it and do it? Have you ever just put logic to it? Because that's part of the psychological operation. You drive around to all these cities and go stay there, fly in and out. That is the system we live in. If you do not get serious about understanding how this works, if you do not get serious about how this rig and break really works, and you don't start focusing on what's right, it's over. And right now I'm very concerned because I still look at some of these people that have nothing to do with really integrity other than saying they're integrity experts, or the system that's trying to get you to donate money left and right has done nothing for it. And yet you follow these people in droves because they say, praise Jesus enough for you, and you think that's all it takes. Well, I think God's waiting for us to wake up and practice our free will and get our crap together, to tell you the truth. Yeah. And so I am exceptionally concerned about 2024 because I don't see people breaking away from the tit of the system, and they keep on waiting for lawmakers to do it, and lawmakers are not going to do it. And it's because people don't want to realize you're the cure. Get your head straight, get your facts straight, trust your gut, and get in and vote. There are no shortcuts.
Yeah, we need a tsunami, actually, on Election Day. Talk about fireax.academy, because that really is the way for people to learn what to do.
Well, think about that. Think about there's one election integrity group that people tend to follow to because there was an attorney there from Georgia that was around Trump, and therefore it must be right. Well, they raised $20 million, promising they'd fix election integrity, until it got to 2022. And they said, oops, there was nothing wrong in 2020. Everything was fine. But they raised $20 million. Now, no offense to poll watchers. They'll tell you, just go watch. Make sure that the procedures are right. Make sure that all the rules are followed. Now, let me give you an example. Why are we watching for people to intimidate voters to not voting? That's not how it's done. That's number one. And if you're auditing the procedure, don't you get they will let you audit the procedure all day long because you're auditing the procedure, not the votes.
Yeah.
So it has nothing to do with the procedure, folks. It has to do with actually how do they get the votes and how do they put the votes in the system. And until you understand this, and until you stop being swayed by people that won't tell you the truth, won't tell you the honest to God truth, we're going to continue to get clobbered. The bottom line is, it's up to you. There is nobody coming to ride on a white horse to save you. There is no army coming. There is nobody coming with the letter Q on their forehead. Space Force doesn't have this. The deep state has this.
Yeah. And
they have it because they can con you so easily into standing down and doing nothing.
Yeah. I mean, they essentially eliminated day of voting and got away with it in the midterms in Arizona. So that's right. That's one of their first things. Real quick, we got about a minute here. Kari Lake and Abe still sort of have something to go on, no?
Well, let's just talk Abe first. Abe's person driving his suit and integrity is Jen Wright, the assistant Attorney General for the state of Arizona that missed every meeting she was scheduled for with me, didn't watch any of the videos that explained what was wrong, didn't open any of the drives to show her all the evidence, right? At all. And the only question that came out of her office to ask me was, did you really hack Georgia? What does that have to do with Arizona? And she's handling Abe's case. If you believe that con job, hey, that's your fault, right? So why would you even believe that? Why would you even believe that? As far as Kari case go, I love Kari. I don't expect anything from it. Here's why I don't expect anything from it.
You got 30 seconds.
Everything's about the paper. Everything's about the paper. And when they won't release the signatures they know are bad so we can match them back to count people that work in the county, and they intentionally avoid it. And when they got this audit, and Shelby got the audit, but the deal was don't dare show any of the information to Jovan. That tells you what they're fighting against. I expect zero from it. Nothing.
How many actual ballots have you seen yourself?
Over 2.2 million and change, a little and change. 2 million plus and change, several times over, by the way.
Chances are you know what you're talking about.
And that's 189 million individual voted ovals.
Wow. Jovan Hutton Pulitzer.
Thank you, bro.
.locals.com, folks.
All right. Listen, we're running out of time.
It's an education. Thank you, Jovan.
Jovan, we always go to the national anthem sung by our beloved J6ers to close out the show. We're glad you as a patriot are here with us. Ladies and gentlemen, remove your hats. Ladies, hand over the heart. Those without hats, hand over the heart. We'll see you next week.
God bless. Have a great week, everyone.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.